The reason I wanted to go down the School Direct route was because the support that's put in place.
Our Schools Direct programme means that you're in school from day one, which enables you to build confidence and to become an excellent teacher.
I really liked the fact that the course offered you the opportunity to learn from teachers, not from kind of lecturers as much, because these are the people doing it every day.
Probably the most difficult thing I've done in my life. However, it has been one of the most rewarding experiences. It's changed my entire mindset.
We will give you all the skills that you need in order to get your first job.
So my degree was in English Literature and Media Studies, which meant that the language part of my degree wasn't there. So that made me really anxious when I first started this course, because I felt like half of the course didn't have a degree in. I had an AS in it and that was it, and I didn't remember anything about it. So I was definitely nervous about that to begin with, and that is something which I'm not nervous about now, because you just learn on the job.
Previously I worked as a higher level teaching assistant and I did that for a number of years, but I decided really that the part of that I liked the most was teaching the class. So what I wanted to do was to get some more responsibility and ownership really of what I taught. So that's why I decided to make the move to do the teacher training.
Some people have asked me whether it's been difficult moving from one industry to the other and from workplace to kind of learning again, I suppose. And I think the great thing about the course is that you are valued as a teacher, you are classed as a teacher when you're coming straight in. So I think from me working in an industry, I'm literally moving across and working in another industry, and that's how it feels and that's how it comes across.
Your typical day would be, of course, you go to briefings with all the staff, so you get to understand what are the issues in the school. Then you get to teach, about 50% of the time. You have your classes allocated, you get to know the student, you get to improve your behavior management, and of course you improve your teaching skills.
I went to university and did marine biology, and then from there it was a case of from university handing in my CV everywhere really, and fell into a job in finance, which obviously was quite different from marine biology. So from there gradually worked my way up to kind of being a manager and eventually a mortgage broker as well.
You'll work with people who possibly have got a different background to you as well, which is also really exciting, because actually you might work with somebody who's worked in an office for 10 years, or they might have been in the army for 15 years, and you're going to bring such rich experiences to the way that you perceive teaching.
I found the training sessions really good. Even though I feel I'm quite experienced as a HLTA, I've learned absolutely tons during the sessions. I worked as a human resources business partner for the best part of 18 years. And I've wanted to be a teacher for a very, very, very long time. And a few years ago I was made redundant, and in my time between jobs I started to have work experience in schools, and I came home every day absolutely loving it. In HR you have a difficult day and you just think of all the things you've missed and how much risk there is to the business. In school you have a difficult day, but you think about all the great things you did do, and even if there's one child that learns something new, you made a difference to that child. And so I knew that I wanted to train to teach after that.
The reason I wanted to become a teacher was kind of getting back to my roots really, the passion that I had when I first initially went to university, obviously with the kind of marine biology element of it. I think I've done a lot throughout holidays and hobbies and things like that had that science passion in it, but ultimately I felt there was something missing in my current job, in my current career. So yeah, ultimately I wanted to kind of progress and inspire other people, really enthuse individuals to kind of want to go down the same science route really.
Because you get to know your class and you improve your teaching, you can see some students progressing, especially the challenging one. It doesn't always happen, but when you get to see this particular student getting more interesting and writing more and getting slightly better grade, you're thinking, okay, now I'm making a difference.
So not only have you got your university support, we're in a small cohort of 14 this year, and whether they're career changers, some with more experience working, some with less experience, and teaching assistants, we all work really closely together to support each other because we're all on the same journey, which is great.
My main subject is French, but I also wanted to teach another language. But because I had learned it a while ago, I had the opportunity to do a subject knowledge enhancement in German, and that really boosted my confidence. Also, School Direct sent me to a second placement where I was able to teach exclusively German. So now I know that I can teach French and German.
You've got everybody around you, which is really good. I mean, there's an experienced team at Manor as an example, so you can fire questions backwards and forwards. I think that, in line with the scheme of work and the resources that we do have with the online textbooks and things like that, you soon pick things back up.
What is great about our programme is that we work really closely with two trusts, Ebor Academy Trust and Hope Learning Trust, and they recruit directly from our Schools Direct programme. We also embed leadership into our programme, and our students carry out a research project. So they look at one aspect of their base placement, they research it, and they report their findings at a conference at York St John.
On the Schools Direct programme, they bear in mind our workload and they make it manageable.
I've found obviously having a family and doing the course as well quite challenging sometimes. I think I've got two relatively young children that like to run about and have lots of activities after school as well. I think you eventually get that structure and that resilience, I suppose. An organisation, you soon learn how to organise yourself and kind of when to prioritise things.
I found that the two schools that I've completed the placements in have been really contrasting schools, which has given me really good experience of different scenarios, different areas, so I've really enjoyed that. In school we have a mentor and we have our classroom teachers, and we also have teachers who've been on the programme who are in our schools who remember what it's like and want to share their experiences and support us all the way. You couldn't feel more wrapped around really if you tried.
Teaching is tough, but it's the most rewarding thing you'll ever do. One of the greatest areas of support is your peers, and it's not to be overlooked at all because they have been, for me, absolutely fantastic.
I'm an NQT with Ebor. The training programme's a year long. We get a mixture of NQT time on Friday afternoons, which is really helpful to just get our heads around the marking and extra experience of different classrooms and watching different practitioners teaching. As well as that, we have lots of training going on with all the NQTs from across the academy.
Being a teacher is just an absolutely phenomenal career choice. Hands down the best thing I've ever done. I mean, it's challenging. Every day presents its challenges. The road to becoming a teacher has thrown me some real curveballs, but I wouldn't change a thing. It's been amazing.
So 6 years ago I was part of cohort 1 of School Direct, so the first year that they ran it. I always wanted to be a teacher because I feel like it's a really worthwhile profession to be in. So I think if you choose teaching, you are making a difference, so it's a good choice to make. I wanted to do School Direct because I felt like it would be a really supportive environment and I would have the opportunity to train on the job with people around me, kind of guiding me as and when I needed support. I feel really passionate as a result in terms of training new teachers because I feel like I would want them to have a positive experience in the way that I did. School Direct's really unique in the sense of you all get a school-based link mentor, which is what my role is now. So you've each got allocated a person in a supportive capacity to help you answer questions, things like that. And I feel like having experienced it firsthand, I know the journey, I know the starting point, I know what problems there might be and any barriers, and I also know the success you can have from it. So I feel like I'm a good role model in that sense of showing that it might be challenging, but it is really rewarding and really worthwhile in the end. I felt like it was a really good grounding for me, and I feel like it's cyclical in a way. So it's a process of, I was you 6 years ago, starting the journey, then I became a newly qualified teacher and had to do it with support, and now I've got my own class and I'm running my own classroom, and now I feel like it's my job to try and support the future generation of teachers really and help them become the best teachers of the future.